Can you believe this? The man fans once cheered for, the so-called devoted dad of love and marriage, Huntsville, just suffered the kind of courtroom humiliation that reality TV producers only dream about. Yes, Martell Holt, the same guy who strutted around like a king of Huntsville while juggling scandals, social media theatrics, and questionable parenting decisions, now finds himself on the losing side of the biggest battle of his life: custody of his own children. But how did we get here? How does a man who flaunted wealth, bragged about being a loving father, and played the victim in front of millions of viewers suddenly end up staring at a judge and realizing that his kids might be taken from him? Is this karmic justice a shocking twist in reality TV history, or just another episode in the endless saga of Martell versus Melody? Stick around, because what happened behind those courtroom doors will make you gasp. And by the time we're done, you'll see Martell Holt in a whole new and not so flattering light. This isn't just drama. It's a full-blown scandal with consequences that could change everything for him, his family, and yes, the fans who thought they knew the man behind the reality TV persona. You're not going to want to blink. Martell Holt, just saying his name sends shockwaves through the world of reality TV, and especially through the fans of love and marriage. Huntsville, once celebrated as a charming, ambitious father and entrepreneur, Martell's reputation has been tumbling faster than anyone could have predicted, and the latest courtroom drama has pushed him straight into chaos. This is not your ordinary celebrity gossip story. This is a full-blown saga of legal battles, betrayal, and family upheaval that has left fans divided, co-stars stunned, and social media exploding. If you thought you knew Martell, think again. Because behind the carefully curated Instagram posts, inspirational Bible verses, and staged smiles, there is a man whose choices have created one of the most shocking controversies reality TV has ever witnessed. His legal troubles, his public spats, and his inability to follow court orders are all combining to paint a picture far darker than the image of a devoted father he has tried to project for years. From the very first season, viewers watched Martell navigate the highs and lows of fame, family, and entrepreneurship. But it did not take long for cracks to show in his public persona. Reports of affairs, heated arguments with co-stars like Morrow and Maury Scott, and public fights with his ex-wife. MelodyShari hinted at a man more interested in power and control than in building a stable family life. The most explosive chapters, however, began with his long-term affairs, particularly the highly publicized relationship with Arian Curry, which was rumored to be more than a casual fling. The revelation that Martell had been juggling multiple relationships while publicly presenting himself as a devoted father caused an uproar among fans, leading to endless debates, viral memes, and heated arguments online. Anonymous sources and alleged leaks painted a picture of a man carefully orchestrating a double life, sending secret messages and creating a persona that could fool the public while hiding a string of reckless choices. Affairs alone might not have destroyed his life, but combined with his mounting legal record, they set the stage for disaster. Third-degree domestic violence charges, harassment allegations, and a no-contact order with Melody turned what was already a tense family situation into a full-blown crisis. Court documents reportedly showed a pattern of disregard for authority, including ignored probation terms and delayed domestic violence intervention programs, while social media posts suggested that Martell continued to flaunt the rules and flaunt his image as the victim. The public reacted with shock and disbelief, with fans on social media dividing into factions, some calling it long overdue accountability and others questioning whether reality TV had amplified his mistakes to a point of no return. Even cast members could not stay silent, with insiders reportedly saying that watching Martell navigate this chaos was like watching someone self-destruct in slow motion, except that it was all being broadcast to millions of viewers. Meanwhile, MelodyShari.com, methodical and strategic, prepared for the custody battle with a determination that contrasted sharply with Martell's impulsive behavior. Her legal team reportedly compiled extensive evidence from social media, financial records, and witness statements to demonstrate Martell's unreliability, manipulation, and volatile temperament, while Martell continued to post staged family moments online, trying to project the image of a loving father. The reality behind the scenes was far different, and the growing dossier against him made it clear that this battle would not be easy for him to win. As if this were not enough, Martell's financial decisions and public antics added fuel to the fire. Multiple sources alleged that he had been spending extravagantly on lifestyle and appearances, prioritizing image over responsibility, which only intensified scrutiny on him as both a father and a public figure. The contrast between Martell and Melody could not have been starker. She remained focused on her children, her career, and her responsibilities, consistently demonstrating stability and care, while Martell's actions seemed more focused on controlling the narrative, maintaining his ego, and appearing as a victim of circumstances. Fans of the show began to notice this stark difference, with social media conversations highlighting the double standard in Martell's behavior, particularly in how he presented Arian in his life while controlling how his children with Melody were portrayed. The pattern became increasingly difficult to ignore. Martell's public persona as a loving, owl-eyed, devout father clashed violently with his private behavior, which was characterized by manipulation, poor decision-making, and an ongoing struggle with authority. As court dates loomed, legal analysts and insiders speculated that his inability to follow through on court orders, attend mandated programs, and demonstrate responsible parenting could severely affect his chances in the custody battle. Meanwhile, the children were growing older and more aware of the tension between their parents, absorbing lessons about conflict, control, and manipulation without even realizing it. The stage was set for one of the most dramatic moments in reality TV history, a combination of courtroom accountability, public spectacle, and the real-life consequences of decisions that cannot be erased with a social media post. Martell's carefully constructed image was crumbling in front of the world, and the fans who had once admired him were beginning to see the cracks too clearly to ignore. Every social media post, every court document, and every public interaction was scrutinized, revealing a man struggling to maintain control in a situation where his past choices were catching up with him. The fallout of this scandal was not just legal but deeply personal, affecting his relationship with his children, his standing with co-stars, and the trust of his fan base. Martell Holt was no longer just a reality TV personality. He had become the center of a cautionary tale, a living example of how charisma, charm, and public image can collapse under the weight of personal mistakes, public scrutiny, and the relentless consequences of actions that cannot be undone. Martell Holt's saga did not stop at affairs and court battles. It escalated into a full-blown public spectacle that had fans and insiders talking non-stop. The courtroom drama, which began as whispers and leaked documents, became a media frenzy, with every action he took scrutinized and dissected. Anonymous sources claimed that Martell had been seen throwing lavish parties while legal bills piled up, flaunting expensive cars and posting images of luxury vacations as if nothing were happening in the courts. One insider allegedly said, "He acts like he's untouchable, like the law and reality TV rules don't apply to him." Meanwhile, social media exploded with memes, fan reactions, and heated debates questioning whether Martell was really the father he claimed, or simply a man addicted to attention and control. Reports circulated of his attorneys scrambling to respond to Melody's meticulous legal team, who had compiled evidence showing a consistent pattern of neglect, manipulation, and public spectacle. Fans and critics alike pointed out that Martell's obsession with image often came at the expense of his children's well-being, and posts on Instagram and TikTok suggested that he was more concerned about perception than responsibility. Rumors even emerged that Martell had been trying to influence co-stars behind the scenes, using charm and threats to sway opinions in his favor, with one alleged source stating he treats reality TV like a chess game, moving everyone to protect himself. This behavior did not sit well with the audience, and the online backlash intensified. The contrast between Martell and Melody became more pronounced. as she continued to handle the situation with composure and dedication to her children, gaining the support of fans who saw her as the real hero in this narrative. As the custody trial approached, speculation grew about the potential consequences, with legal analysts noting that domestic violence convictions, harassment records, and patterns of manipulation could heavily influence the judge's decisions. Martell's public persona, which he had carefully cultivated for years, was unraveling, and every failed attempt to appear in control only fueled the narrative that he was losing the battle on all fronts. Multiple sources suggested that his financial irresponsibility, including unpaid fines, court costs, and legal fees, was beginning to take a toll, creating a scenario where Martell was not just battling for his reputation, but also struggling to maintain basic stability. Alleged eyewitnesses described him as increasingly desperate, attempting to maintain appearances while secretly panicking over the mounting consequences. And the tension was palpable in every public appearance. Fans noticed that Martell's social media posts shifted from inspirational and staged family moments to cryptic, dramatic captions hinting at frustration, regret, or deflection. The more he tried to control the narrative, the more obvious it became that the control was slipping through his fingers. Public opinion, once divided, started to consolidate around the perception that Martell had mismanaged every aspect of his personal and professional life, with one online poll even showing a majority of viewers believing he might lose custody of his children entirely. Meanwhile, Melody remained steadfast, attending court, adhering to every legal requirement, and maintaining a calm, focused demeanor that contrasted sharply with Martell's chaos. Insiders reportedly noted that her strategic approach was designed not only to protect her children, but also to expose Martell's inconsistencies and unreliability to the court, a tactic that seemed to be working. Alleged sources claimed that Martell's attempts to charm or manipulate co-stars and public figures were increasingly transparent, leaving viewers and insiders alike questioning his motives and character. The tension between public perception and private reality became a defining theme of the saga, with every court hearing, social media post, and public interaction highlighting the disconnect between the father Martell claimed to be and the man he was proving himself to be in real life. In addition to the legal and social fallout, rumors circulated that Martell's personal relationships outside the courtroom were also strained, with friends and associates distancing themselves due to the negative attention and potential consequences tied to his behavior. Fans and commentators speculated endlessly about the long-term impact on his children, noting that growing up in the midst of such drama could leave lasting impressions about trust, conflict, and family dynamics. Martell's inability to accept accountability, combined with his obsession with image and control, created a narrative where his actions were interpreted as self-serving rather than genuinely protective of his children's well-being. Public reactions on social media continued to intensify, with viral posts, heated debates, and satirical commentary painting Martell as a man caught between ego, chaos, and a rapidly shrinking sphere of influence. As the days counted down to the trial, the anticipation reached fever pitch, with fans speculating about the outcome, co-stars making cryptic statements on interviews, and legal analysts predicting that the court would not look kindly on a parent who had repeatedly ignored court mandates and demonstrated questionable judgment. Martell's every move was now under a microscope, and even casual viewers could see that his carefully constructed persona was fraying. The contrast between him and Melody only grew starker as the proceedings progressed, revealing a pattern of behavior that suggested manipulation, impulsiveness, and a failure to prioritize his children's stability. Alleged insider accounts described a man increasingly desperate, who regained control over the narrative while simultaneously being trapped by the consequences of his own actions. Every social media post, public statement, and leaked report contributed to a story that was as fascinating as it was alarming, leaving viewers and fans on edge, wondering not just about the legal outcome, but about the long-term consequences for Martell's relationship with his children and his standing in the reality TV world. As proceedings continued, speculation about potential outcomes grew intense, with some legal analysts predicting that supervised visitation or partial custody was the most likely scenario, given the pattern of behavior and documented legal issues. Meanwhile, public reaction reached a fever pitch, with social media platforms flooded with commentary ranging from outrage to disbelief, memes lampooning Martell's perceived attempts to control the narrative, and fan accounts offering detailed breakdowns of courtroom developments. The children, growing older and increasingly aware of the tension, were reportedly affected by the ongoing drama, with experts commenting on the emotional impact that prolonged legal battles and public scrutiny could have on their perception of family, trust, and stability. Alleged sources close to the family described Martell as appearing frustrated and cornered, trying to assert authority and control in ways that seemed increasingly ineffective and transparent. Melody's steadfast focus on the children's welfare and her calm demeanor reportedly earned praise from legal experts and fans alike, highlighting the stark contrast between her measured approach and Martell's performative gestures. Rumors circulated that Martell had attempted last-minute appeals and negotiations, but insiders suggested that the court was unwilling to grant additional chances given his history of ignoring previous orders and failing to follow through unmandated programs. The mounting evidence and courtroom testimony painted a picture of a man whose priorities appeared misaligned with the responsibilities of fatherhood, and even those who had previously supported Martell publicly began questioning whether he could truly be entrusted with unsupervised access to his children. As the final days of the trial approached, speculation intensified that the judge would favor a custody arrangement prioritizing the children's safety, emotional stability, and consistent care, which many observers interpreted as a likely win for Melody and a devastating blow to Martell's public image. Analysts suggested that this outcome would not only affect his relationship with his children, but also his standing in reality television, where fan perception plays a critical role in the longevity of public personas. Alleged insiders claimed that co-stars previously embroiled in conflicts and tensions with Martell were watching closely and forming opinions that could influence future collaborations or appearances on the show. The relentless media coverage, social media debates, and courtroom scrutiny combined to create an environment where every action, post, or comment was magnified, leaving Martell with little room to maneuver or control the narrative. In the end, sources reported that the judge ruled decisively, favoring arrangements that emphasized the children's well-being above all else, limiting Martell's access due to documented patterns of behavior, and reinforcing the importance of stability, consistency, and responsible parenting. This outcome reportedly left Martell shocked, struggling to reconcile his public persona with the consequences of his private actions. While Melody emerged with renewed public support and validation for her dedication to her children, the final verdict, which had fans and insiders discussing the implications for weeks, was seen as a turning point in Martell Holt's life, marking the moment where reality, accountability, and consequences collided with public perception, social media performance, and the performative image he had cultivated for years. Observers emphasized that the fallout extended far beyond legal outcomes, affecting relationships, public reputation, and the broader narrative of the show itself. The children protected and cared for under the new custody arrangements were positioned to experience greater stability and security, a critical factor in their development, while Martell faced the long-term consequences of choices that prioritized ego, control, and public image over consistent parental responsibility. Fans speculated endlessly about what this meant for Martell's future in reality television, his ability to rebuild trust with his children, and the lessons that could be drawn from his public and private missteps. The courtroom drama, social media spectacle, and ongoing family tensions all combined to create a story that was as dramatic as it was cautionary, showing that no amount of charisma, social media management, or reality TV fame can shield someone from the consequences of their actions when it comes to family, accountability, and the well-being of children. So now that you've seen the shocking truth behind Martell Holt's courtroom downfall and the devastating impact on his family. It's time to think about the bigger picture. Is this really about a father fighting for his kids? Or has it always been about ego, control, and keeping up appearances for the cameras? The evidence is overwhelming, the public is talking, and the fallout is impossible to ignore. You've watched the drama unfold, seen the patterns of manipulation, and witnessed the contrast between Martell and Melody. But the story isn't over yet. Because what happens next could change everything for him, his children, and the reality show world. This is your chance to join the conversation, share your thoughts, and weigh in on one of the most controversial reality TV sagas of our time. Do you think Martell can ever repair the damage? Or is this the final chapter in a story of self-destruction and missed opportunities? Don't hold back, your opinion matters, and the world is watching. Like this video if you were shocked by the courtroom revelations. Comment below with your take on Martell's actions. And subscribe to stay up to date with every twist, turn, and explosive update in this ongoing saga. Reality TV has never been this dramatic, and you won't want to miss what happens next.